What appears to be a routine stop for fuel on a quiet Sunday evening transforms into the moment that changes everything when a pregnant woman steps out to use the restroom and returns to find an empty parking space where her husband's car had been. The man behind the wheel believes this is how their story ends, clean and simple. But he has no idea that his calculated abandonment at that desolate gas station will become his complete undoing because a retired police officer and his wife happen to pull in moments later, recognize something terribly wrong, and choose to act in ways that will expose every dark truth he tried to hide. What follows is a powerful journey through cruelty, resilience, and accountability where one cold decision at a gas station creates ripples that touch lives, shake foundations, and bring the full force of justice down in ways no one expected. The weight of what happens next only reveals itself as this story unfolds. Before we continue, we want to connect with you. Drop a comment telling us what time you're watching this and where in the world you are right now. Your presence here matters. The gas station sat at the edge of town where the streetlights thinned and darkness gathered early. It was the kind of place travelers passed through without noticing, a single pump island beneath flickering fluorescent lights, a small convenience store with bars on the windows. The Sunday evening air carried a chill that cut through fabric and settled into bones. Jessica Martinez stood beside the restroom door, her hands resting protectively over her belly. She was 7 months pregnant, her body carrying the weight with visible strain. Her gray cardigan hung loose around her shoulders, doing little against the cold. Her husband's car, a black Honda, sat at the pump, engine running, headlights cutting pale beams across the empty lot. "I will just be a minute," Jessica had said when they pulled in. Ryan Martinez had barely looked up from his phone. "Take your time," he replied, his voice flat, distant in the way it had been for weeks now. Jessica walked slowly toward the restroom, each step deliberate as her lower back protested. The bathroom was small and cold, the fluorescent light buzzing overhead. She washed her hands carefully, staring at her reflection in the scratched mirror. Dark circles shadowed her eyes. Her face looked thinner than she remembered. She pulled her cardigan tighter and took a steadying breath. When she pushed open the door 2 minutes later, the parking space was empty. Jessica stopped, confusion flooding her mind before fear could catch up. She looked left, then right. No black Honda, no Ryan, no car at all. The pump stood silent, the transaction complete. Her heart began to pound. She walked forward slowly, reaching the spot where the car had been. Tire marks on the damp pavement, nothing else. Jessica pulled her phone from her pocket with trembling fingers. 3 text messages waited. The first was clinical, detached. "I cannot be a father, I cannot do this life." The second was worse. "Do not try to contact me, I have made my choice." The third was a screenshot, a plane ticket confirmation, one way, departing tonight. Her name was nowhere on it. Jessica's knees weakened. She grabbed the edge of the pump to steady herself. The phone slipped from her hand, hitting the concrete with a crack. The screen splintered but still glowed. Headlights swept across the lot. A truck pulled in slowly, an older model with a steady rumble. The engine cut. 2 doors opened. A man in his 60s stepped out first, his posture straight despite his age. His wife followed, her eyes already on Jessica. "Frank," the woman said quietly, her voice carrying urgency. "Something is wrong." Frank Wilson approached carefully, hands visible, non-threatening. 25 years as a police officer had taught him to read situations quickly. The pregnant woman, the cracked phone on the ground, the way she gripped the pump like it was the only thing keeping her upright. "Ma'am," he said gently. "Are you hurt?" Jessica shook her head, unable to speak. Frank's wife, Margaret, was already moving closer. "Sweetheart, where is your car?" Margaret asked. Jessica's voice came out broken. He just left me here." Margaret's face hardened. She looked at Frank. Something unspoken passed between them. "We are not going anywhere," Frank said simply. The Wilsons' home was warm, lived in, filled with the kind of comfort that only decades of marriage create. Jessica sat on their couch, wrapped in a thick blanket, a cup of hot tea cooling in her hands. Margaret sat beside her while Frank made phone calls in the kitchen, his voice low but firm. "Tell me exactly what happened," Margaret said gently, and Jessica did. She told them about Ryan's growing distance, the arguments that stopped because he simply stopped engaging, the way he looked at her belly with something close to resentment, the gas station, the messages, the plane ticket. Margaret listened, her jaw tightening with each detail. When Jessica finished, Margaret reached for her hand. "What he did was not just wrong, it was criminal," Frank returned, his expression grave. "I called a friend at the sheriff's office," he said. "What happened tonight constitutes willful abandonment of a dependent person. Given your condition, it escalates." Jessica looked up sharply. "I do not want to cause trouble," Frank shook his head. "He caused trouble the moment he drove away." Margaret stood. "First things first, we need to make sure you and the baby are okay." She pulled out her phone and called her daughter, an emergency room nurse. Within 30 minutes, Jessica was being examined. Her blood pressure was dangerously elevated. The stress had triggered early contractions, still mild but present. "You need complete rest," the nurse said firmly. "Any more stress like this could send you into premature labor." Frank documented everything: the medical assessment, the timeline. The text messages Jessica showed him. He photographed the cracked phone, the messages still visible on the damaged screen. "Evidence," he explained quietly. "Everything matters now." The next morning, Frank drove Jessica back to the gas station. The attendant remembered the black Honda, remembered it leaving alone. Security footage confirmed everything. Ryan pumping gas, Jessica walking to the restroom. Ryan getting in the car and driving away 30 seconds after she disappeared from view. No hesitation, no waiting, premeditated. Frank requested a copy immediately. Margaret, meanwhile, had contacted legal aid. The lawyer listened carefully, took notes, asked precise questions. "This is clear-cut abandonment," she said. "Especially given the pregnancy and the location, we can file immediately." Jessica hesitated. "What will happen to him?" The lawyer met her eyes. "What should happen? Accountability." The filing went public within days. A local journalist, tipped off by courthouse monitoring, requested the documents. The story ran that evening. "Pregnant woman abandoned at gas station by husband." The details were devastating. The security footage obtained through public records request showed everything. Ryan's car leaving, Jessica emerging alone. The timestamp brutal in its precision. Ryan's employer saw it first. He worked in finance, a position requiring trust and ethics certifications. By Monday morning, he was being questioned by HR. By Tuesday afternoon, his desk was cleared. His professional reputation, built over years, crumbled in hours. Jessica went into labor 3 weeks later. Margaret held her hand through every contraction. Frank waited outside, ready for anything. When the baby boy arrived, Jessica named him Thomas after Frank's late father. Margaret wept. In the hospital room, the lawyer arrived with updates. Ryan had attempted to return, hiring his own attorney, crafting explanations. None of them held. The evidence was irrefutable. The court ordered child support, medical reimbursement, and formal acknowledgement of abandonment. His attempt to flee the state was blocked. His passport flagged. Every exit closed. Months passed. Jessica found work at a community center, part-time hours that allowed her to care for Thomas. The Wilsons became grandparents in all but name. Frank taught her how to document everything, how to protect herself legally. Margaret taught her that accepting help was not weakness. One Sunday evening, Jessica drove past that gas station. Thomas slept peacefully in the back seat. She looked at the pump where everything had fallen apart and felt nothing but distance. That woman who had stood there alone, terrified and discarded, felt like someone else now. She was stronger. She had learned that silence protects the wrong people and that speaking truth, even when your voice shakes, changes everything. The car that had abandoned her was gone, but the life she had built from that abandonment remained, solid and real and hers. Ryan's choices had destroyed him. Her choices had saved her. Thomas stirred, made a small sound, settled back into sleep. Jessica smiled and drove on, leaving the gas station and everything it represented behind. If this story touched your heart, please take a moment to comment below. Tell us where you are from and what this message means to you. Your words might give someone else the courage they desperately need. And if you know someone who needs to hear that they deserve better, that abandonment is not the end but a beginning, please share this video. Sometimes the most powerful thing we can do is refuse to disappear quietly. Your story matters. Your voice matters. Never forget that.